Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I'm a bit, I don't know, I shouldn't be agitated. After all, my security, my policeman has not been withdrawn. So why am I agitated? But, you know, that's the situation with a lot of big men, as we refer to them in Nigeria, VIPs, political office holders, and all those people. The new order by the Inspector General of Police will require all of those police bodyguards to be withdrawn. Now, this is nothing new. In fact, it's ancient history. It's not the first time we've heard of this. It's been, you know, it's been on and off, on and off. So it hasn't been complied with since the very first time the very idea was mooted. So now here we are. Well, we've got people to look at this whole thing for us. They give us reasons. The news that conveyed the Inspector General's order stated that it was the security situation that necessitated this particular action, and that a memo will be forwarded to the President for approval, whatever that means. So why the cart before the horse was my first thinking. If an order is still going to be sent to the President for approval, but meanwhile the order is going out now. But maybe that's a matter of processes and procedure that I don't understand. Let me quickly tell you, to help us understand a bit more about how this works and what's going on, is Mr. Okbola Alade Taiwo. He's an Assistant Commissioner of Police retired and a security consultant. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Morning.
Indeed. Yeah. And right next to him is Mr. Tony Ofoyeto, Director General, International Institute of Professional Security. That is IIPS. Good morning, Tony, our brother, and legal practitioner as well. And Dr. Luke Onyekekeya, member of the editorial board of The Guardian. As always, Luke, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
Let me situate this, because you've actually, either individually or your organization by way of editorial, you've been covering this subject of the police withdrawing personnel from big men. Give us an overview, a brief overview.
Yes, thank you very much. The order to withdraw policemen from some people.
VIPs.
VIPs.
Political office
VIPs,
holders.
yes. Which the
corporate organizations.
Which the IG has just said is not new. It's an old issue. Then, as far as I know, this same IG, Idris, when he was acting IG, he made this same statement that he was going to withdraw policemen that were attached to VIPs. Now, to the best of my knowledge, this issue had come up in our editorial board in The Guardian, and we've discussed it. The order is not from the police per se. It was given by the Federal Executive Council in 2009. It was the Federal Executive Council that gave this order that policemen should be withdrawn from people who are not legally entitled to it.
In 2009?
In 2009.
Okay.
So, so there's no question of talking of sending a letter to President now for approval. No, there's no need for that.
If you are sure that the situation
yes.
that obtained in 2009, is what obtains now, because it was stated that the prevailing security situation in the country has necessitated the order.
Actually, in 2009, in fact, that was when Boko Haram started. It was the prevailing security situation that made the Federal Executive Council to issue that instruction. That is number one. Then, number two, the order is not essentially to withdraw policemen from VIPs. We have to clarify some of these things. The idea is to withdraw mobile policemen and anti-terrorism unit policemen that are attached to individuals. But there is another area police unit called Special Protection Unit. The policeman here. Yeah. So those special protection units,
yes,
policemen, are the ones that are supposed to be attached to people. So what the IG is saying is that, or what this directive is saying that, mobile policemen and anti-terrorism trained policemen should be withdrawn from people. They are not made. They are not trained to be guards. There's a unit in the police force called Special Protection Unit that have people trained to guard people. Those are the ones that should be attached to those who are entitled to it. And the Federal Executive Council went further to state the people who are entitled to police protection. And this includes the president and the vice president, the governors and the deputy governors, the the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and a few other people. This was clearly stated.
At that time, corporate individuals were not brought into the picture because the private individuals also have banking chiefs.
So the point is that anybody that doesn't belong to this group
at that time,
from that time to even till now, that is having police attached to him or her is illegal.
So all of those policemen should be withdrawn. Let me now swing over to Mr. Taiwo, and you heard what the journalist says was the finding that they were able to make in relation to the 2009 order. You listen to all of that. Do you think there's anything different in this instance? Because all have been ordered back to base, and then they can later on apply and deserving individuals will be issued with it. So do you think the situation between 2009 and now have changed? And would you like to comment on that detail about, this is not really from the police, it's really from the federal authorities being executed by the police. Maybe your opinion or comment on that speculation.
Thank you. It's interesting. He has spelled out the whole, situation and.
Because they write the editorials.
Yes,
upon which other people
even know more than the police. Yes, I can agree with what he said because. Security of person and property is solely the responsibility of the policeman. And withdrawing the police from these people, we have to look at it in two ways. It's correct that the governors, the president, the vice president, the chief judge, these are from time immemorial, have been guarded by the police. Whether mobile policemen or we call them Atura, the other black trousers policemen. But it is a must that these individuals must be protected because of the position they hold in the society. But of recent, we discovered that some men, novo rich, those who just come up, they will love to be protected by mobile policemen.
Yes, but how did they bamboozle the police?
You say what?
How did they bamboozle the police into giving them what they are not entitled to?
They don't bamboozle. They have to apply.
But the apply is not going to be accepted. You've just told me a very brief, list of people who indeed are acceptable. And so when a novo rich or anybody comes along, that's what I meant by bamboozling the police. It can only be.
They don't. They have to apply.
So the police was breaking the law.
The police have to approve.
So the police was breaking the law.
It's not breaking the law.
Okay.
There was no statutory. There's no statutory.
What we just said about they specified the list in the journalist has told us that they further clarified by specifying that these are the guys who actually are entitled, and anybody else is access to our needs. So all of those ones should just come back home.
But times can
move. So the police compromised somewhere along the line.
No.
Okay.
Time can dictate.
Okay.
The additional.
Okay.
To the list.
Okay, and that might indeed have been the case. We don't know. We have to emphasize the word might.
Yes.
Might.
Yes. It has to. Because the police cannot just do anything without or post somebody to an individual without an authority behind it.
But that's my problem, sir. That's my very problem, sir. That the police itself, you can't by force say you are such a big man that, hey, you police, I need 2 of you over to my house. You can't do that.
It's not
It's not
possible.
possible. So the police has to willingly say, proceed to that
And that's
duty
the
post.
IG. IG is the head, and is the one who approves.
And now
And
the
he
man is
can-
unhappy with the population of the policemen serving novo-rich and big men who are entitled. Now they want to untangle it.
You know, they can go through any source to get the IG approval. It's a busy man, yes. And once he said approve or treat,
Yes.
the people under him takes over the posting.
So by the time he woke up, he found out that, La Kuli, where are all the policemen? They're all serving private interests. No, this is not acceptable. We're going to do something about it.
That is a different issue. Yes, it's a different issue.
Okay.
You know, the police are not enough in the first instance.
Thank you.
The mobile policemen that are withdrawn are trained for riots.
Yes.
And especially...
But were erroneously assigned by the very same police.
Just a moment. They were trained for quelling of riots. And in the spirit of guarding the police, you had him, the editorial board member, that the IG purposely decided to train some special police
Protection units.
Yes, protection units. This has been done.
Okay.
And, you know, in effect, they are not enough.
No.
If you had him on the paper, he said he's going to train more to be posted to states.
Okay.
And where they don't have enough, the mobile men has to be, to be
To supplement.
Yeah,
you know.
to supplement the men.
Okay.
You know, you will find out that the state we are, the security situation, deserves protection for these people.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you, sir.
Yes.
Tony, how do you see this? Maybe people who understand the nuances are able to follow the conversation up to the points we have got. But perhaps a brash person who doesn't really know too much about it will say, this is incompetence on the part of the police. The police themselves allowed that unit, the special protections unit, whether so-called or not, allowed it to burgeon into a fat octopus there. And now suddenly they've woken up and seen that too many of our men are doing this for which the police is much bigger than this. Now we've got to sort it out. What is your comment about the charge of incompetency on the part of the police?
Well, I would not want to use the word incompetence. Yes. Rather, I would look at being proactive. I will also
in sending them out in the first place?
Sorry?
In sending out these policemen in the first place?
No, I would explain myself. Now, the rationale behind the issue of withdrawal of policemen from VIPs in court is, according to the police, inadequate manpower. But if we look at it from a various perspective, number one, if any of these VIPs is kidnapped, now it becomes another national boomeranging effect. That is one. If any one of them is assassinated, it becomes another national embarrassment. That is two. Now, if there's a major security breach in the houses of any of these ones, it will capture the front page of newspaper. That is the third one. Now, having said that, the issue will not be, what do we do in lieu of this? We don't have enough manpower, and these people have to be protected. Because whether we believe it or not, there are VIPs that goes beyond the president, the vice president, the governor, and the deputy
Even the
governor.
police allow for that?
Yes, there are VIPs and the like. The specially trained forces, protection force, are not even enough. The whole police formation, I don't think they are up to 500,000.
It can be enough.
Now, having said so, what do? We look at a contemporary juxtaposition, Nigerian security system and some other Western world. We borrow a lot of things, including taxing system and the like. Now, why don't we look at some of these things? In developed countries, if you look at Queen of England, for example, you don't see a policeman hanging behind him. not minding that it's the queen and the like. Now, there are private security firms that are trained, you know, in executive protection, are licensed basically for executive protection. What are they expected to do? They bear firearms. They bear firearms, they are trained and they are under strict oath, under strict regulation. This is the type of firearm you can bear. They are handguns and the like. Good enough to protect a VIP. Now, that by so doing, you create more employment. You also give the security some level of peace to be able to concentrate on the national security, the internal security. Now, the VIPs you are talking about, they will not be responsible for paying their own security officers and the like, rather than this falling back on government, because government is going to pay that police officer for doing what? For protecting a private man. Yes, he's a VIP, but if you look at it also, it's also been abused. You have seen Lebanese, I've seen Chinese, I've seen Indians, you know, that policemen will open doors for and the like. And personally, I feel embarrassed because I've been privileged to travel out of this country and I don't see those, they drive themselves. In their own country, they drive themselves. When they come here, you see our own policemen carrying handbags and food baskets, even for their drivers, for their wives, so to say. You know, so such things could be national embarrassment. It's even ridiculous to us as a country. So we expect that the government should now look at civil defense is there. Civil defense bear arms. Civil defense can complement the effort of the police. What are we talking about? If there's a symbiotic relationship among security agencies, almost all the security agencies you are talking about bear arms. Now there are other groups we are talking about, you know, that the government is beginning to recognize that can also play complementary role. Private security firms are there. There are individuals that are not as vulnerable as we think. It's not compulsory that in every situation that a BG or an executive protector must bear arm. There are other electronic gadgets like the demobilizer, what you call stun gun. Stun gun is such that it's an electric shock. Basically, even in developed countries, firearm is the very last option. Very last option.
Fine.
So,
excellent. All of this, indeed. Thank you very much. That's what the police inspector general seems to be saying, that he wants to sort of bring sanity to bear on this situation that has got out of hand. The situation got out of hand, I imagine, is what we're saying. And so
no, we say with due respect, that thing won't work. No, it won't work. Now, why it won't work is this. The IG is sitting on the exalted office there. He has not taken any alternative step. Now, if you withdraw, you say, we are withdrawing all this. Like somebody has accused the IG before that they make a lot of money out of the issue of posting of police officers to executives and the like.
But that is true.
It became a national issue and all those stuff. I don't know whether it's true or not, you know, but that's on its own. But what I am saying, professionally, what we expect is that before the IG come out and make such pronouncement, you don't make pronouncement because you want to play to the gallery. Yeah, you make pronouncement that is workable, especially security, which is the most sensitive aspect of any governance.
You know, we were told when Luke was explaining, you know, the history of this thing from his own research and journalistic writings, he had pointed out that this. No, actually, I lost my train of thought.
No, you see, what I was saying is, you see the senators, each of the senators, they are all entitled to police officer, each of them, at least and oddly. Now, how will the IGP be able to withdraw the police officer from all of them? How will he do that?
No, he did say that some people are deserving. But it seemed that he wanted to clean up a bit.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, in cleaning up a bit, he should have done a collaboratory approach. Yes. Go to the civil defense. They are armed. The civil defense are not as occupied as the police as it is now. And they are also into internal security. Why don't you work with them? Now, withdraw this policeman here, put a civil defense, they are all armed too, and they are well trained. In short, the civil defense are trained by the army. They are well trained. Withdraw this man here, replace him with it, because this man has an alternative role. Like he said, the issue of counter-terrorist group being deployed to guard an executive, it's waste of resources. The issue of, you know, those people that are specially trained for crisis management and that are trained for, you know, civil unrest and all those stuff, you are asking them to guard, and it's waste of resources. Okay. But there are people that are also equally trained.
Yeah, I hear
Work
you.
with them.
I hear you. In fact, what you've just said is just that maybe I was a bit cruder. You know, they went to sleep, so to speak, and then these specialists got assigned to be personal, you know, bodyguards, if that is the proper terminology, which is totally unsatisfactory, as you've just been saying. Now, we're going to sort of get our act together. But the part about when Luke said they found out when they investigated the matter in 2009 that it didn't emanate from the Inspector General. It emanated from the police.
It didn't emanate from the police.
It was an executive council resolution.
Yes. Yes. That was then. Yes. We don't know that this is the same.
It's a different administration entirely.
So I was seeking if there is any
entirely. And if you ask me, as far as I'm concerned, I see the IG as somebody who is just trying to save his job or something, because you are talking of you are talking of something that is so sensitive.
Is his job in threat?
It's too sensitive.
Is it under threat? Is his
job
under any threat?
It's under query for not obeying presidential order. It's a presidential order. He did not obey it. Okay. The president himself said it, so it's not a matter of this thing.
All right.
So he would want to do things that, as far as I'm concerned, that seemingly will want to, you know, appease his boss and all those stuff like that. But to me, as far as I'm concerned, this is boomeranging.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's going to say he took the decision only for professional reasons. That will be, I'm sure, what he's going to say. But
I think we should get something clear or clarify something. The IG did not say that policemen were going to be withdrawn from VIPs. No. He said mobile policemen and anti-terrorism policemen had to be withdrawn, which means this special protection police will still be there for their job. We should clarify this. It's not saying that...
No, we know. Because the statement was as complete as to say look, some are deserving. It's not as if the concept of being guarded by the police is disappearing from Nigeria. No.
No, that is
not.
But
I think the impression I got was that just a percentage, a slim percentage of the extent of it now is what is really required, and how do we get to that slim percentage?
Now, maybe I should
in the first instance, everybody come back home, and then you people can now apply, and then we will start all over again and issue only to where it is deserving.
Maybe I should give more facts. You know, when Obunnayo Onovo was the IG, he came up with this same measure. And then it was Onovo who disclosed that there were about 100,000 policemen in private hands. Then it was Mike Ehindero who gave statistics that there were about 377,000 policemen in the whole system. 377,000 police in the system. Now 100,000 are in private hands, leaving 277,000. That is roughly
Nigeria.
That is pan-Nigeria, roughly what we are working with. So these IGs have been concerned that it is wrong for a mobile policeman to be guarding an individual. It is wrong for an anti-terrorism trained policeman to be guarding an individual. Now, we should have this unit, which is Special Protection Unit, just as the Army. They also have their elite unit that guards their officers and the rest of them. So the police is trying to conform to that framework so that you don't misuse scarce resources.
Yes. Okay. Again, coming back to the police and trying to understand how it works, maybe to not put too much on it because we've mentioned it already. there were mistakes made in the past if specialist officers, because there's not value for money, if specialist, highly trained officers end up guarding individuals. And whereas those specialist officers probably should be guarding the president, maybe the governor, and just a few individuals, the situation went a bit out of hand. So, and more than one IG has tried to crack this particular nut. So what is the problem? Where is the pressure coming from? Because it seems to me that the IGs know the right thing, just as we are speaking here. They also are highly intelligent, otherwise you won't get to be IG. So they know all of this. What is the problem? It would have to be a guess. What's the reason?
Lawyer Ofeyeta has said it. It was a pressure from the public. And the public didn't know the intricacies, the problem inside the place. If I start telling you what problem police has, you
can imagine a lot of it.
Pity them.
I can imagine a lot of it. You know, we constantly do programs on it.
Yes, you will pity them. I was a DPO in Lagos here, and even from the day I was promoted DPO to the rank I left the force with, which is Assistant Commissioner of Police, Area Commander, no drop of fuel is given to me to manage the station.
The operation.
The operation, and I must do it.
That's an impossible task. Were you using your salary?
I have to get a police public relations committee.
Okay.
And,
okay.
you know, you just employ them to assist.
Really? And donate?
And donate.
To donate to the police?
So this is what we use. Now, you see, they should have allowed IG to take this thing in a gradual process. In the system, we have what they call spy police, supernumerary police.
When you say allow the IG, there's a supposition in there that, again,
somebody is forcing him.
It didn't emanate entirely from the police.
There was a lot of also, he was being challenged in the House, in the Senate. The public are not, you know, friendly with him. And from day one, you know, police is always an enemy to the public. From the public view, while we were friends to them.
Well, the policeman is your friend. It's a catchphrase. It's a police catchphrase. The policeman is your friend.
Do. But you know, the moment, and people are not ready to comply with the law.
That's where the police will not be your friend again.
That's why we can't be a friend to the thief, the armed robbers,
or the lawbreaker,
or kidnappers. But I've been saying it without number, that the federal government itself left some things undone. We have dismissed police officers. We have retired police officers. We have a lot of these people in the public. After they've enjoyed the goodness of the office, they have been thrown away. There was a time one of the head of state dismissed all the political soldier men. And a lot of soldiers, dismissed ones, retired ones, they don't have record of these people. And I've said it times without number, that these people contributed to this men killing. You can't just kill people. I mean, we have passion for people.
They become sort of like a sort of pseudo mercenaries.
Good of you.
You know,
they want to eat. They want to feed their family.
You know, it's a very serious point, and we'll come back and continue.
Unless the census of these people are taken,
yes,
know where they are, and know what they are doing.
Okay, we'll take a break at this stage and come back and continue this conversation. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Quoting the Inspector General of Police, a directive for the withdrawal of all police officers deployed to VIPs, political and public office holders with immediate effect is hereby given. That was yesterday at a meeting with, police chiefs. Now we're looking at how to execute this order. And by the way, even though this aspect of the news of the police IG's briefing stole the headlines, he's also deployed what? The figure is 2,000 armed policemen to schools in northeastern Nigeria. And I think they also have ideas that they bring civil defense in. But you're shaking your head. Why was that?
There's no cause for it. There is no cause for the police to go and guard schools. It has never been. You know, in advanced countries, we have the local government police in advanced countries. We have the university. We have all these things before. But because of the political emergency and the military incursion into the system, everything became militarized.
Okay.
That's the word.
Okay.
The students in the university now came up against the policemen in the university and destroyed them, destroyed the police station, and the police tactically withdrew. In Nitel, we have policemen there. Post office in those days. In university, we have policemen. In local government, we have what they call local government police, IGP. In many, just a standard of the overseas system. But when Nigeria became violent, militarized, things became difficult. The police in those areas were brutalized and slaughtered. Then the police, to protect their staffs, withdrew, tactically withdrew.
Is there a problem with the police working with so-called civil defense?
No. That's a different issue. You know, the synergy between the police and the military, you know, there is what they call this, I don't know how to describe it.
Has it been an uncomfortable relationship between the police and the military?
It is not.
Not necessarily.
But we call it ego.
Well, exactly.
Yes.
The police. Well, again, the army doesn't like working with the police. The police doesn't like working with civil defense. And for that matter, the police perhaps don't like very, very well working with yellow fever and working with all these other.
Yellow fever is
part and
parcel of the
I know, but we're going to this ego matter that you brought up, because you see the corner eye that policeman will be looking at other people with uniform, just as they are looked with corner eye by military
people. Let me tell
you,
in law, police is the only authority to protect life and property.
In law.
In law.
Yes.
Civil force.
Yes.
You know how the...
But there are just 300,000 of them, we've heard.
The civil defense came up during the Ojukwu War. And they said, join civil defense, don't sit on the fence. And as they grew, naturally, when you grow up, you become metamorphosis into... So by the time Baba Obasanjo was in power, then there was what they call the Act of Parliament, and it was passed that they should be able to carry arms and they should support the police.
Support the police.
Yes.
Yes.
But as time goes on, things becomes,
No, you see, let me just say this very quickly. We all have a history. If we have to be looking at history, that means that the issue of complex will keep coming in, either superiority complex or inferiority complex. So, and that is one of the problems we have with security agencies.
Yes.
You have some that are superior, some that believe that they are superior to the other. Now, Chapter 4 of the Police Act gives omnibus power to the police, especially when it comes to internal security, to the extent that they can stretch their hands and hit anybody, and the law also permits it. That's how powerful the Chapter 4 of the Police Act is. There is nothing called limited jurisdiction in that act. However, having said so, the subsequent security agencies that came on board, they also have their enabling act. that also give them power. Now, it will shock you to know that it is better for a police to prosecute you than for civil defense to prosecute you. I'll give you an example. If police prosecute you for pipeline vandalization, the maximum you get is 6 months imprisonment or thereabouts. But if civil defense, under the Civil Defense Act, prosecute you, you may go for 14 years imprisonment. That's to tell you how powerful it could be. I hope you understand that. Now, having said so too, now I think that this is not one man's business. It is national business. Whether you are police or you are civil defense or you are SSS or you are army or navy, you are working towards the common goal of a nation. And the common goal is the protection of lives and property and the territorial integrity of the country. So I think that because in short, I interviewed the former IG at a time. And he said, look, that what do they know in civil defense other than they should go and be protecting pipeline and all those stuff like that. That's just the mentality of what an IG would talk about the civil defense and all that. And that also informed the reason why the civil defense, when they wanted training, they went to the army. They were more comfortable relating with the army. And the truth is this, they are well trained. You will see a civil defense man well armed, and he will talk to you as if he does not bear arm at all. That civil that is in the name also reflects even in their relationship with you.
No gra-gra.
No gra-gra. That's just the truth. I understand
but with police
what the
and
ACP,
army, there's always plenty of gra-gra.
The ACP, I understand his line of thought when he's saying, civil defense and the line. But we have metamorphosed from that Ojukwu era. We are now in a different dispensation entirely. And in this dispensation, we expect that civil defense, the SSS, the army, the navy, the police, all of them, if they don't work together as a team, let me tell you, what will happen is that it will create a crack. That cracks become a vulnerability. And threat will exploit that vulnerability.
Now, all of this is going to be partially addressed at least by this action in the mind of the Inspector General of Police, because with a figure, just working with statistical figures now, 300 and something odd policemen, almost a third of them in private use. So at that time, 200 odd, that's a lot of weight to put on 200,000
yes,
odd
no, but
people.
let's get it right. It is true that they may not be numerically strong enough. But don't forget that we also have other alternatives to the police. They are segmented into different areas. You have immigration that will help you to be able to look at the borderlines and the like.
You have naval police.
You have naval police
and so on.
And all those stuff like you have army and the like.
Yes.
Now, so at the end of the day, you will now discover that it also complements whatever inadequacies. But having said so, we look forward to a country where you needn't have this big mongoose numerical strength. If the police is well... If the police is...
The 300 odd that we have, is that adequate?
No, if the police is well funded and, you have good equipment, 200,000 is okay.
Okay, one moment, please.
If you have
Mr. George, thank you for holding on. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you.
Good morning to your guest.
Thank you.
Uncle Yori, I'm in sync with the recommendations made by Mr. Tony Ofoyeton. I do not see any reason why anybody that goes to do one kind of business or the other, he sees 10 million in his account, the next thing he does is to go and apply for police protection. If VIP have money, let them go and apply for protection from licensed security agencies. That one will work. I do not see any reason why legislators should have police attachments. In the UK, I've met several MPs inside the tube, inside the train.
Yes.
None of them has any bodyguard. If they are representing the people, and you cannot mix with the people freely, and you cannot feel free within the people, why are you their representatives? The IG is saying he has a point, but the point is not yet clarified. Somebody had accused him earlier that these people were paying money and that the monies are nowhere to be found. Maybe he should also address that one. But for this aspect of protection,
yes.
let there be, in my view, there should be a legislation on it as to who is entitled to police protection.
All right.
So from there we can move, and those who call themselves VIPs, they can now apply, and they know who is actually VIP that is entitled to police protection.
Okay.
There will be sanity that way.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. The point that Mr. George brings into this whole matter, where was all that money going? Because it was a heck of a lot of money, ostensibly, that was coming, and I'm not sure about the accounting procedure. There was a heck of a lot of money.
I have never
coming in from all these.
I have never smelled any such thing.
So all these rumors that we've been hearing.
It was a rumor.
I see.
No, but
there are some occasions. Just a moment. There are some services that police rendered. They paid and receipts are issued.
Okay.
And some part of it goes to police reward fund. That one is normal.
Okay.
But where they said
all the informal ones, where if payments are allegedly made, then allegedly they are siphoned off to a certain area, they just settle the DPO.
No, the senator came forward.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
The senators was, he was an ex-policeman. Maybe he was taking such money and nobody challenged him.
Okay, Mr. Opera in Victoria Island, good morning.
Uncle Yeri, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to the guests there.
Thank you, good morning.
It's a welcome address. It's a welcome thing by the Inspector General of Police to recall all these people. Uncle Yeri, what you understand is that our senators, this and that, our VIPs, they are all servants and not masters. In other nations, a head of state, a president is a servant and not a master. But in Nigeria, they are all masters, not a servant. We elected them to go and serve us there. Imagine the number of the senators and the House of Reps. All of them have 2 or 3 policemen attached to them. How can they police a nation? It's not done.
All right.
Other nations, you see them free. But in Nigeria, the Bible says when you break the head, serpent will bite you. They know what they have committed, and that's why they have to go and take protection from everywhere.
Okay.
Look at the whole nation. It's a welcome idea. That is why we are calling for restructuring of this country. There are a lot of things to be restructured.
Okay. There are a lot
of things. Please, I have to sympathize with my daddy here, who is a retired officer. What is going on in Nigeria? You can see it now. That is why some policemen, when you are parking out of your house with a vehicle, they will stop you on the road and say, what do you carry? Instead of this is your property, they will say, no, you have to pay before you go.
All right.
When parking to another house. Okay. So the whole thing is messed up.
Maybe you stole those items.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in.
I want to clarify something.
Okay.
You see, we're talking about the number of policemen. You asked whether the 300,000 something is enough. And my colleagues, Tony and
yes, if they give the money.
They appear to be saying yes. There's an international benchmark for policing people worldwide. I'm not sure. I'm not very sure now. But I know the UN has a benchmark. It's about 1 policeman to about 40 people. But here in Nigeria, if you divide the population using the police we have, is that 1 policeman is chasing more than
it can't take care of more than the whole police force will take Lagos State. Lagos State alone.
How is that possible? So the point, sir, is that we have not even had enough. We have not reached the benchmark. If we get the benchmark, then we can fall in line as it is in other countries. So Nigeria is grossly under-policed.
Okay.
Grossly underfunded.
Yakub in Dokwemo, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Chief Yori.
Thank you for calling.
And then good morning to gentlemen in the studio, and then including our father, the retired police officer.
Thank you.
Chief Yori, I believe if 10 or 20 people called to this program this morning, I believe almost 20 of them will say that this is a welcome development. Why they will say it's welcome of the development is that our legislation, including Senate and House of Representatives, even including the governors. Let me even extend it. You know what? When they come to meet us when the campaign is going on, they will tell us all sorts of things. They will provide this, they will provide that, they will provide this. They find it easy to come and campaign to us. But by the time we take them in, they will not find it uneasy to come again, to come and tell us this is what we are doing, this is the stage of things that we are in on. See, Chief Jerry, we are not going to get out of this issue until the governor can enter a train together with ordinary citizens of this country, until the House of Representatives member and the Senate member can enter the same public board. As case may be, maybe when they finish this train, and then I sit down side by side with my senator, I'll be very, very happy because when a senator campaign to you that I'll providing you water, when this thing is, he knows it is not the responsibility of the senator to provide the water you want to do, want to provide education or whatever. And then getting there, the ordinary citizen that you campaign to, that you want to provide water and this, they find out that you are not doing those things. And then you find it easy to come and meet them. And then you now protect yourself with 10, 3 or 4 policemen. They will not say that, okay, you are protecting yourself now because you promised us that you're giving us water in our area. But you know this is the responsibility of local government chairman. And then you is to go to Senate and House of Representatives to make a good law. It's a good business of Nigeria. So it is a welcome development. Like to all the police we do that they are protecting the all IP. So that we can be able to secure the rest of the country. Thank you and God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. So whether less than 500,000 police officers, substantially less, because I think 300 to 350,000 is substantially less than 500,000. Whether they are enough. Immediately Mr. Taiwo said it's much more is not really, well, he gave the impression that you could do a good job with what we have if properly funded and equipped.
Yes.
You know, the truth is that we are in a generation where technology, robotic, has taken a lot and has also assisted. Drone, for example, no man can get to where drone will get to, no matter how sophisticated you may be. You can be here, you want to examine what is happening in your farm, and you send a drone, and you are seeing, you make an assessment. The same thing, you know, you talk about a convoy moving.
Yes, but the point of all of this, for the topic of our conversation,
what I'm saying
is that all of these, if all of these are deployed, then it frees up the men, and so we have enough. We have enough, really. That seems to be the point.
You know, yes.
We have to take care of those people, even if they are withdrawn.
Yes.
If we are 1 million and care is not taken, you will not see the performances of those people.
Okay.
You won't see anything coming out from them. Before now, before the advent of all this, without taking care, the house, they don't give enough money to the police to make police.
Okay, and then the police try to help itself because there are other business aspects like this particular it was reportedly a very lucrative endeavor.
That's not the situation.
Okay,
it's a wrong perception.
Okay,
it is a wrong perception. I must be honest with you. All the security fragmented, security office, sections we have, they are because police is not well treated.
Okay. Samson, Mr. Samson in Wari, thank you for holding on. Good morning.
Good morning, Professor Onkuyori. And good morning, Marita Chipita. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Then good morning, our people in the studio. Onkuyori, if you could check very well, we have discussed something like this before.
It's not, we said it from the beginning, it's not a fresh subject.
No, we have said something like this, just related something like this. When we came, informed us that they withdrew all its security, then IGP came out and said, no, don't mind him. They had nothing less than 220, maybe 211 or 221 policemen attached to a governor. Onkuyori, this thing is so alarming. What's the population of the total? What's the total number of policemen that we have in this country? That is number one. Onkuyori, come down to Warrior, come and check. We will go. I have a filling station that is just no more than a clock. You have 2 policemen guarding a filling station. A filling station, and you are going to have anything with it out. They will tell you it's not meant for you people, that it's meant for police station. What is the work of people, or what is it for that people who defense, or what is that work? A policeman is supposed to be guiding us. It's literally a filling station. Come to a company here. I can, even from my house, close to my house, I receive police van, almost 40 or 50 policemen guiding a construction company. For what?
So there's an inefficient, from your point of view, an inefficient distribution of police.
That's it.
You know.
That's what he's saying.
Yes.
No, that's
abuse.
abuse.
There's abuse.
And all those policemen, you see that we take it for the 7, guiding a filling station. For what?
Okay. And you complain that we have. Thank you very much. And and then there's the complaint that we don't have enough policemen. So where the conversation seems to be going is that people need to understand, you know, what the police is and what deployments are and the nature of the work and all of that. Then they can begin, if they understand all of those, then you can be better informed to comment on whether or not we have enough policemen.
Or not.
Right.
You see, what I want to say is that I see the argument of many of us in this country. We keep hammering on legislators,
because privileged, the privileged.
I just want to narrow it down to legislators. If it is just the legislators alone, I don't think we will have issues with a shortage of, they are not up to 1,000. They are not up to 1,000. They're about 300 and something, then 700 and something, about 360 and plus about, you know, thereabouts. So if you are looking at it from that perspective, and one of them, except for the Senate President and maybe principal officers of the houses that will be entitled to escort, all of them is just...
All the KBACs up and down the land.
No, I'm not talking of, I'm just talking of the house
now.
Oh,
okay.
The house now. Because most of the callers have been talking about House of Rep, politicians and the like. Those are not the main people that consume the type of numerical strength. The example he gave now is so apt. A fueling station, having 2 mobile policemen, for what?
So those kind of spurious postings.
Yes, it's not necessarily
I have someone else on the line. Excuse me, please. I have Mr. Robinson on the line in Ikeja. Robinson, good morning.
Hello, Uncle Yori. I'm a first-time caller.
Good morning, sir. We're delighted to have you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to contribute to your discussion.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, it is a welcome development to withdraw police from all these so-called VIPs. If you look critically, the integrity of the police has been taken away. How can you expect a trained policeman, armed policeman, carry back to follow local government chairman wives in the market? How do you expect a trained police officer to be carrying umbrella, to be covering governor's wife, governor's children, this or that? You know,
it must be part of the GOs. The policeman won't just carry umbrella or carry bag unless there's a written something saying that is what he should do.
No, that is nothing.
There's nothing like that.
Nobody can write that.
Nobody can write that.
So the police on his own initiative says, Madam, bring the bag, let me help you.
They stoop down.
Yes.
They want to show loyalty.
He is right.
It's not stooping down. The governor, if a governor gave a directive to the policeman,
yes,
do this, will he refuse?
I don't know. I thought they said something as a legitimate order. A person can disobey an illegitimate order. No?
You know, there are, you have to...
Please continue.
Yes. They are going to say obey all lawful orders without hesitation. There are orders that are not lawful, that if eventually you refuse it, and the so-called your boss that you are guiding report to the appropriate authority, you will be sanctioned or you will call it. So therefore, the integrity is no more there. It is going to be a very welcome idea to restore the dignity of police.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, talking about the dignity of the police, I was so, in my naivety, the only reason a man in uniform, in a Nigerian uniform, Nigerian police uniform, will be carrying anybody's bag is because there's a bulletin from his posting out station that says, these are things you must do. So if a man, upon wearing that Nigerian uniform, now stoops down and says, Madam, bring it, let me carry it for you.
No, look, I've never been an orderly in my life. I've never done anything like subservient to any person. Because one, I'm tall, and I cannot, yes, I can't be a servant to others. Yes, I must be honest with you.
So that is what all policemen are supposed to be.
Yeah, that's the ego we should have. But there are some instances, you know, people, because of their self-aggrandizement, they law over you, and there's nothing you can do. Maybe the boy is just having his, being a policeman, he has tried all.
So sometimes policemen are between a rock and a hard place.
Of course.
Okay.
No.
Well, actually, my producer is telling me out there that we've completely run out of time. It seems that the conclusion to all of this is, one, it's not a new problem. It's not a new matter. Two, Tony has said that he's not sure at all how this is going to work or whether it is necessary. And I think you have said that complaints about the size of the police force is one thing, but equip those ones, equip them properly, pay them properly, and come and see what we can do with it. Okay,
there is abuse of the postings.
Abuse of the postings.
Yes.
Well, that's something for that we can leave. Thank you very much, Mr. Opola Taiwo, Assistant Commissioner of Police, retired. Thank you, Dr. Luke Onyeka-Kaya, and thank you, Barrister Tony Ofeyoto. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your perspectives. Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folani. Bye-bye for now.